welcome to our stream here. This is the first of its kind for our company. I'm Rob Atkins, and I'm the CEO and founder of UPass Universe. So we've been working on this project for a little over a decade, pretty much since 2011. That was pretty much on and off. Right now, I'm working on this pretty much full time every single day. Right now, today I wanted to start streaming because we're going to be building a Gothic style house. This is going to be for our art gallery system. So check out our website, SingularityOSN.com. It's SingularityOSN.com. And you're going to see some really neat stuff here, I think. So here we go. So I already have the Blender scene set up. Basically, I always use the box. I know some people are like, oh, getting rid of the box. No, I keep the box. I already have our scene set up for everything I need. Cycles for the render engine at the end. Alrighty. So we're going to start building a hallway. This is fairly straightforward. And actually what I want to do is I would like to import a mannequin. I feel like that's very important to do that. Where is it? I think I would have been more prepared for this, huh? Here it is. Oh, there's an animation. And now we wait on the import. So yeah, I've been using Blender for about a year and a half. No, actually, excuse me, I've been using Unreal 5 for a year and a half. I've been using Blender for about a year. So I was using early access and all that for Unreal 5. And as you may or may not know, this is basically for a 3D spatial / virtual world, not to be confused with the metaverse. You know, that's definitely not what we're building here. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're building a metaverse." No. So we've always called our thing multiverse, and this thing came out way before metaverse was even talked about. I mean, there was a metaverse in the book in the '90s, which was a dystopian term, by the way, and I don't know why tech companies today would use that, but you know, that's pretty much where we're at. Alrighty. So, what I'd like to do, look at the dimensions here. Yeah, that's not going to work. We don't know that short. Yeah, I don't need, no. Let's do 2 foot. About 1.5. There. Let's Still doesn't look right, does it? No. Okay. Alright. I did not make this mannequin. But yeah, basically here we are. Let me save this as a blank setup so that way we got this going. Alright. Now we're going to save this as the Gothic house here. So we'll call it... So this is basically going to be used for an art gallery. That's what my mother wanted, Laura Atkins art. Alright. So, if you're new to Blender and you haven't really done this before, these are basically called loop cuts. And I'm going to be selecting the edges here. So you can select any edge, see how it turns white. So, selecting the edge, I'm going to push Control and the R key. Now, what that does is it creates a slice cut here, and you see it shows I got one in the bottom left corner. It says number of cuts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do about 10, and that'll basically cut this on the side here. We're gonna go down here. 5 looks about right for that. I almost forgot. We need a so base. I always call it the base material. Remember, this is going to be the hallway. So, like any hallway, we're going to have doors, right? Control R again. Let me see first. Let's bring this over. That's right. You can never select another object unless you go back to layout, move it back to then click back where you were. See, it shows what you're selecting. And that's left clicking when I do that. All right. Let's see. We're going to do another loop cut here. Alrighty, so we have our basic hallway, which looks really basic. It's just basically a rectangle. We're going to make a little doorway here. So let's start doing this again. Now what I like to do is, you see I set it up for loop cut. I did Control R. I hit the Control key again, and you'll notice in the top left it says Edge Slide. You see that right below File, Edit, Render? See how it says minus 0.987, blah, blah, blah. So doing that basically gives you a nice clean cut. And I basically let it go. I let go of the Control key. And now it's just waiting for confirmation. You push the left button. See? It goes away. And let's check something here too, because I always like to solidify these things. When I first started doing this, nobody really talked about, everybody's editing all this stuff, right? And nobody, I mean nobody, was talking about using Solidify. So I'm like, I'm building all these buildings, I'm building all this stuff. And here we are. There are no tutorials when I'm building stuff that show you to put it into the modifier property and use Solidify. And you can adjust the thickness as you want. So you can see inside the wall here. Watch as I adjust it. See how it goes away? you can see the base material. There you go. See, I could make it really big. You could have really crazy thick walls. It gets really crazy at that point. So obviously, just keep the compass in your eye, as my parents always used to say. Um, all right. How about that? That looks good to me. Now, one thing I like to do also is I like to. First, let me tell you about this thing. This is a top-down view, preset viewpoint. And if I'm jumping around, just bear in mind I have ADHD, so sometimes I'll be jumping around. So we have the selection tool, and we're going to select. I did a one left click, and I'm dragging it with left click. I hold down the left key or left mouse button still. I let go. That selected all that. Now see, this is my top view, side view. If I push Y again, it'll switch to the other side, and you'll see the mannequin. Remember, that's where he's at. All right. So why did I select this? See how it's orange? I basically did this because we're gonna give this its own material property. Now I do this to each object because it gives greater flexibility when you bring it into Unreal 5. So if you give every side its own material property, right, then you can determine what it's going to look like inside the engine. So if I want the engine, this to be like, roof, or I want it to be an unfinished floor or whatever, I can switch this out inside Unreal 5. You don't have to use the materials that you do in here. And technically, the way it is now, Blender has an issue bringing the materials you make in Blender over to Unreal 5. Sure, there's a way to do it. I just don't really know how. So that's going to be a tutorial you'll have to look up sometime, or maybe I can find something and create one. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to add a new material slot. And see, I'm down here on the Material Properties tab, which is a little red and clear beach ball. That's what it looks like to me, is a little beach ball. So we click the beach ball at the very bottom on this tool thing. I'm going to do new material. I'll just say roof. Now there's a reason for this, because when I do solidify at the end, I'll put materials inside the hallway as well. So we have roof. Enter. I have roof, right? So we're now going to click assign. Now you don't see any changes, right? I put that into actual color mode so you can see what's going on. That might be helpful, huh? Good old Windows. We gotta wait. And there's some good cider. Okay. Don't know why that took so long. So, this is your base color panel. This is all your settings down here. Now, this is stuff that was not explained when I watched tutorials. Like, people would just change materials left and right, and they'd be like, oh, blah, blah, do this. They wouldn't go into it. So I'm going into it. So, you can change the base material, color. So if I want to do a black, there you go, look, and black roof. You can make it metallic. I usually do like a 10. See, that's got a little bit of a sheen. If you wanted to make a, if you wanted to make windows, let's make a thing here for windows. So I did the plus key, new. Glass windows. Now I'm not going to assign this yet. So we got glass windows. We are going to go down. I'm going to do transmission at a 1. Roughness, get rid of that, put that to 0. And I basically click it. So if you want to change values, you click, you put in your number on the keyboard, and then you push enter. So I'm going to change that. Now here I'll just show you an example. If I did put it in Windows, just say I clicked assign. See how that changes it? Now you're probably wondering, well, that just looks like a mirror that's reflecting the standard Blender background. Well, you'd be right. It does look like a mirror. Now the reason why is because only Cycles can really render what that looks like. So if you want to see an idea of what this this glass windows material looks like, we're going to click this guy here. All right. So it's going to look very dark, but here, I can show you. See, this is inside. There's no light source. You can see a little mannequin dude out here, and that shows that it's working. Right? But since I don't want that to have the glass window there, I just select it, left click, left click. Oh, and here's a trick too. Left click, you can use shift to select each box. See, I want to do all that. That's shift. If I do left click and control, it'll drag it. See how it makes like a little pattern, like a little snake pattern, like on the old calculators back in my day when I was in high school. So anyway, here we go. So shift or control would have worked for that. And we're going to switch this back to base because we don't want that set as a window right now. So when we go, just to show that it goes away, back to Cycles. And we'll see. We'll go inside the box. It is pitch black because there's no windows anymore. See? No window. Alrighty. So let's get down to business. We are going to make this the bottom. So I did the control left mouse button, shift, and let's save that as bottom. Now I'm not calling it the floor because the floor will be in the inside. Bottom. Let's call this rear. Call this left. Always make sure to unselect the other stuff because that'll really cause you problems. Left. Front. Right. Now, really, I should have said top, shouldn't I? How about let's do this? We'll just do top. And we'll put top at the top. I'll use the roof material later when we actually have the roof of the building. Top. There we go. And if you wonder what these were, this is a camera. So you can click on the little camera dude. Oh, I'm looking at that. You can adjust all the camera settings if you go into layout. Remember, you have to always go to layout. If you try to go to camera from modeling tab or any of these other tabs, it's not going to work. Now, when I did that, see how this changes? You know, perspective. You can do orthographic, panoramic. You can change the focal length. You know, you're down to 16 millimeters. Here we go. Camera. See how 60 millimeters gives you more perspective compared to the 55. So it just gives you an idea. I can also change it to panoramic. I don't have to back out every single time. Orthographic and perspective. So perspective is generally how we perceive the world, correct? Alrighty. Alrighty. Alright, so all that's done. We have a cube. You're going to notice a few things here. You're going to notice there's a wrench here. So this wrench dude is our modifier from before, which is the solidify modifier. Remember, we gave thickness to the walls. Now, I never turn this off until I'm done editing. And the reason for that is because, well, first let me show you an example of what happens back to modeling. If you leave it on, so if I leave that on, all right, if I were to delete this, so I'm going to use the delete key. I select it with left mouse, delete, and now this is going to let me select vertices, edges. Remember, here's the edges. Vertices are the little points. I'll show you the vertices here. No, those are faces. Excuse me. These are the vertices. See how it has a little point here? That's a vertice. Vertice. You can select multiple vertices. I'm in wireframe mode, and you can switch between looking at different things with wireframe. So if I wanted to select through the building, look at that. I selected the other side of the wall. That's the point of wireframe. This is just a standard layout if you don't want any colors or anything and you just want to lay out the design. And then this is for giving you a little bit of texture at least so you get an idea of what it's looking like. Primarily I just run in this mode, which is viewport shading, compared to the with the material preview, viewport shading, compared to this mode, which is just the solid mode, and then this is of course just the wireframe. So anyway, we're going to get off of these points. That's more for specific modeling, which we will do. But as of right now, we are just going to do a few things in here. All right. Lost train of thought of what I was doing here. Oh yeah. Show and solidify. Alright. That's solidify. Okay. Let's jump around now. So, remember I said this is going to be a hallway? Now what I like to do is I'm going to just separate this. And to get here, remember I'm doing left click, I'm doing the control thing. If I right click on the screen here, it brings up a menu, and this menu only pops up in modeling mode. Each tab has its own menu. So modeling mode is what gives you the ability to separate by selection. Now see this change into its own thing. And of course, if you wanted to actually do anything with it, you have to unselect everything. Then you can go select it. Now see how I've changed it to cube.001. This is cube, which should be called hallway. So let's rename that. And here's an easy way to do it. Instead of right-clicking this, you can right-click, ID, rename, hallway door. All right. Looks like the signal cut out for a second. Even though I have a custom router. Must be a YouTube thing. Okay. So we have our hallway door. And now see, with this selected, I can only edit this doorway. So nothing else I do is going to be affected. Like if I, unless I switch that, then you'll see, go to modeling. Now I can't do anything with the door again. See how that works? Easy peasy. Alrighty. Now, for the hallway door, let's have a material called door. Simple, huh? This just gives us an idea where it's at, and I like to just do random colors for this stuff. And of course, you notice what's missing here? The assign key, that's right. So we go to modeling, and we do assign. Basically, when you think of Blender, you have to realize that you really have to keep in mind that each tab sort of keeps it as a different layout. So if I'm over here with layout and modeling, see how it doesn't change to where I'm at with each tab. You have to move both if you're working on something. See? Now you're probably wondering, why is this all gray? Well, remember I was playing around with this viewport shading, and it's in solid mode. There you go. Now it's going to show the material previews, right? If I went to this mode again, just to give an idea of how it looks so different. When we go to render, well, and this is in process. This is a very intensive process. That's why it takes so long for it to render. And I have a high-end video card, so even with that high-end video card, it's still taking a while. And high-end, I mean, this is like a. I want to say this is a 16 gig video card. I got 64 gigs of dual channel RAM, and this is on the Alienware X17. So this is from 2021. Okay, so before I get too boring here, let's go to this. All right, now you can remember what I did. Now I'm doing the loop cut again. Remember, I'm doing that edge slide with the control. And the point for this is I'm basically making a doorway frame. And you know what? I don't like that. That's way too short. I'm going to undo everything. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Probably going to be like, this guy is nuts. Alright. I can't go back any further, can I? Nope. Well, that's unfortunate. So the problem is, if I have the hole cut that short, look at that. 6 foot tall doorway. Yeah, that's not going to work, is it? Nope. It is not going to work. It is not going to work at all. Now, we can try a mode called the fill mode. Here, let's try fill. Just decided to do nothing, huh? Okay. So, what I'm doing is I'm selecting left click, shift, left click, F key, F is in Frank, fill. Here, left click, fill. See how we did that? Everybody makes mistakes, right? I know I do. I know I do all too well. All right, so that's corrected. Now I was trying to get it to do a Yeah, I definitely don't want that. All right. This is what we're going to do. We are going to make another stream. I'm going to stop this one, and we're going to start